From fading stars to selling out their future, here's why Chris Paul getting traded to Golden State will not work. In one of the most questionable trade decisions of the year, Chris Paul has been traded for the second time in just 1 week. In a three-way trade deal, Paul was first sent to the Washington Wizards in exchange for Bradley Beal, before being traded to the Golden State Warriors for Jordan Poole. And let me tell you right now, Golden State fans are worried. Paul's a veteran player, there's no doubt. He is widely considered to be one of the best players of his generation, as well as one of the best point guards of all time.
4 of 8 from the floor. Paul open, free to fire.
But here's the thing, his generation is an old one, and it really looks like his time has passed. I mean, come on, the dude is pushing 39. There's no two ways around it. He isn't going to be playing ball for that much longer. Jordan Poole, on the other hand, is 24. The guy is in his prime, and with a bit of investment is likely to emerge as a crucial player for any team that has him. So you see what I'm getting at here, right? The Warriors might be cutting their noses off to spite their faces. They are giving up a potential future star like Poole. For what? 1 to 2 seasons with Paul. Yeah, I don't really see that going all that well. It just seems like the Warriors really aren't thinking that much about what they're going to be doing in the future. It's just so incredibly short-sighted. The Warriors have been pretty dominant in recent years. As a franchise, they have the 3rd most championships and the 3rd most finals appearances, only behind the Los Angeles Lakers and Boston Celtics. Since they signed Steve Kerr as head coach in 2014, they have consistently performed incredibly well. With superstar players like Steph Curry, Draymond Green, Andre Iguodala, and Klay Thompson, the Warriors have won the finals 4 times since 2015. That's huge. But here's the thing, all those guys are definitely in the last part of their careers. All of them are in their 30s, and while still incredible assets to the Warriors, are going to have to slow down at some point. Eventually, they just won't be able to keep up with the young guns. It's as simple as that. So the fact that they are trading Poole, one of their most promising young talents, for another older player like Paul, is insane. It is probably going to backfire spectacularly. To solidify the trade, the Warriors also had to give the Wizards a first-round pick in 2030, as well as a second-rounder in 2027. In 2022, the Warriors traded James Wiseman, their number 2 overall draft pick of 2020, to the Detroit Pistons. So with Wiseman and Poole gone, things are looking very bleak for the future of the Golden State. And honestly, the fans aren't even too happy at the idea of having another older player on the court. The biggest concern, which in my opinion is pretty valid, is how the Warriors' defensive backbone is going to work with such an old team. Paul, Curry, and post-knee surgery Klay, all aging on defense sounds horrid. Chris Paul, Curry, Klay, and likely no Draymond sounds like the defensive unit of my nightmares. Some fans are trying to be a little more positive, focusing on the offensive potential of Paul and Curry. Chris Paul and Stephen Curry might be the greatest backcourt of all time, even if they're both 35 plus. That's incredible. In the short term, it's probably a pretty solid deal for everyone involved. The move will give the Warriors financial flexibility in future seasons. Poole is about to begin a 4-year, $128 million deal. Paul is due about $31 million this coming season and has nothing guaranteed after that. This means that they are going to have an easier time meeting the team salary cap. But has anyone over at the Warriors really stopped to wonder why Paul doesn't have a long-term contract? The answer is pretty simple. He ain't gonna be there long-term. The Wizards are clearly happy with the trade as they have scored themselves a solid prospect in Poole. They, unlike the Warriors, are clearly looking to the future and working on developing their next generation of talent. Analysts seem to think that the decision to take Paul means that the Warriors are prioritizing their short-term finals chances, probably because they are trying to make the most of Steph Curry while they still have him.
Now they corral Curry with the double. Got it! 4 on the floor for Steph.
Poole is no doubt keen to be with a franchise where he will likely get more court time. He's kind of in the total opposite situation to Paul, now that I think about it. I mean, he's already earned himself a ring with the Warriors, but that was more or less him riding the bench. The Wizards will really give him a chance to come into his own as a player. Paul is probably pretty happy with the prospect of playing with a quality team, too. Despite the fact that he is about to enter his 19th season, Paul has never actually been able to win himself a ring. In fact, his only finals appearance was in 2021, He helped lead the Suns to the finals against the Bucks, but blew a 2-0 lead and lost in Game 6. Paul's been traded a lot over the course of his career, but he has never really managed to find himself with a team that is able to succeed in the finals. By the sounds of it, he wasn't really respected by Phoenix in the first place. He first found out that he had been traded when his 14-year-old son texted after the news had already broken. Paul was surprised because he had spoken to the Suns' general manager the previous day. Jeez, that's no way to treat your guys. Like I said before, Paul's a great player. He's probably one who really deserves to earn himself a ring before he calls it quits. So now he's joining a veteran squad like the Warriors. He might actually have a chance of taking a title before he runs out of steam. This shot with the Warriors really is his last chance. But then we run into another problem. Is Paul actually going to see a lot of court time at Golden State? Honestly, probably not. I mean, Paul's an incredible point guard, but he is new to the Warriors. How the hell is he meant to supplant Steph Curry or Klay Thompson? These guys have been playing together for ages. They have a rapport with each other. They've won finals together.
But this is not how you play the final 19 seconds.
Paul is almost certainly not going to be a starter for the Warriors, which is a pretty significant step down from his previous teams. This means that Paul is likely to spend a decent chunk of his season sitting on the bench. Probably not the way he pictured himself winning his ring. This just makes the trade even more infuriating for Warriors fans. They have to watch their future be sold down the river, so Paul can ride the bench. Paul played an average of 32 minutes per game in the most recent regular season and 35.8 in the playoffs.
Chris Paul up ahead, no-look dish, finds Cam Johnson.
There is no doubt at all that those numbers are going to see a huge dip now that he is with the Warriors. The other thing to consider is that at 39, Paul is going to be way more prone to injury. He missed several games in the last season, including the last 4 games of the Western Conference semifinals against the Nuggets. Golden State is putting a truckload of faith in their training staff to keep Paul healthy enough to play. One injury on Paul's part could blow everything for the Warriors. The reality is that the Warriors are taking a massive risk with this trade, and the gamble might not even pay off. Most fans feel it would be way more beneficial for the Warriors to take the time to focus on some new talent, while they still have veteran players to help them develop. Curry, Green, Iguodala, and Thompson would be fantastic mentors for a younger generation. All this feels really cynical and also pretty desperate. I mean, sure, the Warriors are definitely still in contention for the finals, but Paul doesn't make them a guarantee. It just shows where the priorities of the Warriors higher-ups are. They are way more concerned with winning the finals next season than focusing on rebuilding their dynasty. So there you have it. From a fading stars to selling out their future, that was why Chris Paul getting traded to Golden State will not work.